This is the S2G podcast. I'm Tanya Backwitzes. In this pitch-style episode, Chuck Templeton sits down with Jordan Schenck, the new CEO of Flashfood, to discuss how the company is transforming food waste into a win for customers, retailers, and the planet. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal, business, tax, or investment advice, nor should it be used to evaluate any investment or security. It is not directed at or intended for any current or prospective investor in any investment vehicle sponsored by S2G. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. References to specific companies are for illustrative and educational purposes only and do not represent an endorsement or investment recommendation. S2G currently maintains an investment in Flashfood, and S2G's investment is not open to additional investors. The views expressed by podcast guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of S2G. For more important information, please visit s2ginvestments.com/disclosures.
You've got this super meaty triple bottom line that exists where Flashfood exists, which has been what retailers have found to be pretty incredible for their businesses as well as their brand image.
In this episode, we're tackling one of the meatiest issues in our food system, food waste. Between 30 and 40% of food produced in the United States ends up in the trash due to inefficiencies across the supply chain. Beyond the lost food, it's also a massive waste of resources, time, and money. But what if you could turn that food waste into a business opportunity? That's the idea behind Flashfood, a marketplace that partners with grocery retailers to keep perfectly good food from going into landfills, while offering it at a steep discount to shoppers. We were lucky enough to catch up with Jordan on her very first day as CEO, and she gave us the inside scoop on how the platform works, why retailers are eager to partner with them, the ripple effects the solution can have for shoppers, and how the company is leveraging data to create an even more seamless and effective experience. With a background in marketing, Jordan breaks down how Flashfood's positioning has evolved and how to turn a daunting topic into a compelling message. So let's dive in.
Hello, Jordan. How are you today? It's so great to be here with you.
It's good to be here.
Awesome. So for those who don't know you, can you please just give a quick introduction of yourself and a little bit about Flashfood?
Definitely. I'm Jordan Schenck. I am the new CEO of Flashfood, actually, as of today.
Congratulations.
Chuck, that is the day of the announcement, though this may release a bit later. And Flashfood is a marketplace that partners with grocery retailers to bring food that would seemingly be destined for landfill that is perfectly good to eat and healthy to the tables and plates of families across the entirety of North America.
Yeah, that's amazing. We're big fans of the company, and obviously congratulations on your new role. Deserved, and excited to watch you go forward there. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to this point in your career.
I've dedicated the last 10 years of my career to building and scaling companies that have the mission of making our planet and the people there on it much healthier. And so that, as a personal mission, has led me through a number of different businesses that have gone from startup to scale up to sale or not mode. And that's been what I've been doing for the past 10 years. And prior to that, I had a pretty meaningful career in marketing as well as product development.
And what is it about the climate and that effort that sort of rings to you?
I grew up in Oregon, and being close to nature, whether that was spending my summers living in the woods or running around beaches, oceans, has always been a huge part of my life. And I think since I was very young, I've always had a sort of protective mindset of the planet that we live on. I think we live on a very exceptional and beautiful planet. I don't necessarily know if I would say Mars is an interesting place for me to net land as a human race. And that sort of mission in and of itself has always reigned true. When I moved to New York City, I started going on the realms of, do I go into the big business, big advertising, big media? And I was living in a concrete jungle. And in that moment, while my career was also moving forward, I realized the immense amount of problems that we had, not only around hyperconsumption, the way that we were designing and developing systems of access. It almost reinvigorated the passion and the fight to really look at how we organize our system where there's opportunity in the system that just sits, whether that's from a monetization standpoint and all the way through to like food inaccessibility, or just like the nonsensicalness of we produce over 1,000 calories per every living person on the planet today, and for some reason throw it away. And so it was like my seed and love of the earth and spending a lot of time in it, all the way through to like just like seeing the sheer magnitude of what we've designed as a civilization to not be in favor of the people on the planet that we're on.
The problem.
You just alluded to obviously the topic here, and that's food waste. And so talk a little bit about what is the problem with food waste? How big is it? Why does it exist? What are the opportunities?
This is a massive existential question that like even the smartest folks at Davos and COP and everyone are trying to figure out, but I'll do my best to quantify it simply. But the easiest way to think about it is on like within North America, and I would even say broadly on our planet, we know that 40% of the food that we produce ends up in trash. Like it's a massive number, because waste isn't just the apple that sort of has seen better days on your counter. It's the amount of manufacturing and labor that goes into just getting that single apple there, whether that's from the field and even all the pre-work to the field, to the shipping, to ending up in a store, to then going to waste. There is so much that exists within that chain that's not even accounted for in that, call it like 40% that contributes to it. And then the other part of it is we know that food accessibility and hunger is higher, yet we seemingly continue to perpetuate this reality of what we say at Flashfood, feeding landfills and not families. I've sat in many exercises, and I'm sure you have too, Chuck, where you're like mapping out this whole supply chain. We sit in this very sort of particular part of the supply chain, which is end of life in a grocery store, which accounts for sort of 12% of all of that waste that you see. Grocery stores in and of themselves are designed to have bountiful presentations of food. No one buys the last apple on the shelf, no matter how beautiful the apple is. Grocery stores are by nature designed to have bounty and that perception of a lot that oftentimes is not very easy to predict in terms of who's going to shop it. The supply chain that is complex, a lot of really good stuff ends up finding its way to landfill just by the nature of how the system is designed. So we exist at that point where we can be at the very sort of last moment to get that food not on a truck, but actually on our marketplace and sold to folks at a great discount, up to 50% off, and sometimes more depending on what you're buying.
Yeah, a lot of interesting points there, but we look at a lot of agricultural opportunities, and oftentimes it's how do you get a 3 to 5% yield increase, and everyone's excited about that. But if we threw away 40 less percent of our food, that totally dwarfs a lot of those production increases that a lot of people are talking about.
The solution.
So tell us about the model. How does it work? Why is it a good thing that Flashfood exists?
For a retailer, historically, the sort of answer for end of life has always been landfill. You know the loss is coming. You do your best to fill the volume of the amount of donations that are there. You fill them, and there's still tons of food going out the door. Grocery retailers will typically take that food and they'll discount it and try their best to sell it as you're kind of moving around the grocery store. Most consumers are doing a lot of pre-shopping, companion shopping. You're buying online, you're moving on the digital space. It's almost like a sort of older schematic in terms of how folks actually shop. So what we're able to do is allow grocery retailers to take that, call it abundance, that's still finding its way to landfill and oftentimes making their discount sections a bit sharper, and they list it, which then gets sent out and pinged to our millions of shoppers who are looking and waiting to buy. I think what's been incredible about Flashfood and why I initially joined the board was there's a lot of nascent demand and shoppers who are looking for awesome deals for food. And so we've never had this like issue of, is there a shopper there to buy it? There's always a shopper there to buy beautiful produce, high quality meat. No one really cares if the egg pack has 11 eggs in it versus 12 because you're getting it for a few bucks. That's always been there. So we exist in that space to give grocery retailers not only the opportunity to take some dollars back from the bottom line, but bring in net new sales as shoppers will come in store and be able to pre-shop that food, pick it up, and then finish their grocery shop in stores. Our value proposition to them has always been, yes, you're going to have that return on the bottom line, but like the value of that shopper that we know is going to come into your store 1.1 more times a month when they shop with you, they're going to be spending on average hundreds more dollars a year with you because they're filling out their grocery shop. And they're going to be increasing their brand loyalty because at the end of the day, they know they're doing better from a sustainability standpoint. They're getting really high quality items. So you've got this like super like meaty triple bottom line that exists where flash food exists, which has been what retailers have found to be pretty incredible for their businesses as well as like their brand image. And then shoppers, like I said, it's beautiful, great stuff. It's really affordable. We are probably, you and I have worked in climate check. Like I've never worked at a company where I'm cheaper than a commodity good. Like we spend a lot of time looking at things and we're like, get that down below premium. There's very rare opportunities in, I would say specifically like better for planet and food where you are literally cheaper than a commodity. Like that is the true holy grail from just a shopper marketing standpoint.
Yeah. So walk through what happens before with this food and then what happens after with flash food from an operating perspective, from the store's perspective.
Yeah, so flash food, we seamlessly integrate to sort of what we would call the morning and oftentimes the afternoon culling routine, which is where someone physically in the grocery store will move through the store and see what's still out in terms of how does the merchandising look, what's nearing its best by way of their systems. We integrate into the store's technology to help augment where things are nearing close dated. And then also we sit alongside folks as they go through the store and sort of eyeball where things are. From there, that person listed on the marketplace, waste is happening every hour of the day. Like you don't know at the point in time where the one blackberry decides I'm done and a grocer has to chuck the whole pack, or a goofball like me drops 3 eggs and they have to pull the whole pack. So waste is every second. And there's also parts of the grocery store where like you don't realize the waste that happens. Like in a deli, they call it the end meat and different parts of the cut when you're cutting up the cheeses and like hams, if you will. There's waste that happens there because they're not going to sell you like the end caps of it, but there's a lot of people that would buy that. So like you start to see where it all happens completely outside of the merchandising problem, which we were talking about, the lonely sandwich and the lonely apple. So someone who worked there will shop, bring it to the back. They use their technology in store to publish on Flash Food, and then that goes onto our marketplace. Folks who are then shoppers are able to shop it. It's no different to shopping like an Instacart, where you're just shopping your local grocery store and you're looking for different items that are now available and then discounted. So discounted 50% off and oftentimes more. And folks know what they're buying ahead. They show up in store within the window, obviously, of when things are living within their realm of Best Buy. We say at Flash Food, we exist in the Goldilocks window. We exist in the realm of right place, right time. You also got to move. Like we're in the land of ephemerality because we're dealing with stuff it is getting closer to what sort of the guided expiry date is. They pick it up. It's pretty seamless. It's usually right at the front of your store. Someone's helping them could be a self-checkout person, could be a customer service. Some locations we have for self-serve. It really just depends on the grocer. And it's as simple as that. The food moves pretty quick and folks keep shopping and coming back.
Jordan shared how Flash Food is continuously improving its ability to collect and analyze valuable data to better understand things like shopper behavior patterns and opportunities to boost in-store engagement.
We are able to get into those sort of varying deviations of numbers. And I think a lot of times for any businesses that have a lot of data in and out, like the challenge is always like, what's the one that sends the sort of signal in that data? What's totally rock and rolling and what's seemingly like the smoke? We've gotten a lot sharper at that over the past couple of years and how we look at our data. And we were just having a conversation the other day, like, great, you have all this data. Let's add the cohort element to it. What does time look like in this business? What does like regionality look like in this business? And we are able to see that. And that enables us to move really fast. I think the hard thing, and you and I both know this from startups, is like time is not ever on your side, but speed is. And so the second that like we develop this dashboard, it's like we see it, we have to move quicker. What got us here will not get us there, but it's because we've actually organized the information in a new way to be able to interpret where we need to go. And it's cool. I think, unlike coming from the realms of CPG, where like data is oftentimes very fragmented, being on the side where you're transacting in a digital and a data-rich setting, the speed is there. And it's really fun to be in food on the side of that, not to knock on the CPG side of it, but it's a whole other place where you can actually like drive impact so fast at scale. Like I don't have to wait for a report to come out from some other provider.
Yeah. It's that battle of signal versus noise for sure in here. I think it was Nassim Nicholas Taleb used the example of you got to figure out the right level of data, because if you're looking at the color of the eyes of people when you're walking across the street, you're missing the big, semi that's going to come by and get you. But at the same time, once you've got that data and being able to leverage it in ways that sort of help evolve and move the business much quicker is so powerful. And that's one of the great advantages that you guys have, and how you've structured your data and how you collect it and then use it. So it's impressive.
Yeah, and we're getting sharper on it. We all know this. We've got a new partner app coming forward in the summertime of this year, and we're bringing forward for the first time really good insights and data to our partners that we've oftentimes kept in that same kind of old school, here's your quarterly report realm versus what's the real-time information that's going to tell you like the health of this store, the shopper coming in, all of that stuff that I know our partners were so hungry to understand, because like I said at the beginning, there's the dollars in on whatever you remit, but the value of this business has so much richness in that. And so we've entered this phase where we're able to better articulate that within the value proposition to our retailers that we just oftentimes hadn't done before, which I'm very excited about.
Product market fit.
Who are some of these shoppers that are out there, they're shopping?
If we play back to my world in marketing, what has always excited me about Flashfood, we have what I would say is a dual-sided audience. We have folks who shop our platform who are extremely high income. They are truly just passionate about the product that exists on the platform. They love the sustainability mission. They love the value regardless of what they're getting. And oftentimes those are some of your most coveted shoppers that grocers are looking for. And then we also service a good portion of folks who are low and fixed income, folks that are seeking this food because the deals are great. Flashfood at a number of retailers in America offer SNAP and EBT. So we become a SNAP and EBT multiplier. Oftentimes when you're shopping with us, you're getting those dollars to go 3x further than they usually would with your regular shop when you're pulling it. And it's all the good stuff like you mentioned. Like Flashfood operates in the realm of fresh food. So it's vegetables, it's fruits, it's dairy, it's eggs, it's meat, it's all of the things that our sort of governing nutrition bodies would say are center plate. And so we are a multiplier there for a number of folks. And that's who our shopper has always been. And I think it's where we've always seen incredibly healthy sell-through, because there is demand for different reasons in terms of what our offering on the platform is, since the quality of the product is so substantial in terms of the good stuff in the grocery store.
Yeah, fully agree. It's such a great model from that standpoint.
Go-to-market strategy.
So tell us about when you sell it to retailers, what is the main positioning that you're doing? I know some retailers are thinking about food waste, others are thinking about profitability. Like, what's the process in which you sell to retailers?
Yeah, so, the nature of selling in general is not all customers care about the same number one thing. But at a broad level, all grocery cares about foot traffic, no matter what, and sales. Like sales being number one in foot traffic. And for us, obviously, this is an incredible tool for sustainability. But the kicker, and again, why I sit in my role and get excited about it, is that there are not a lot of programs out there from a foot traffic and brand image and marketing and bringing in the value of high quality shoppers that not only pay for themselves, bring more in the door. So when we're selling, it's whether you hit it on your shrink or you hit it on your sales, that's going to be great. But there aren't a lot of places that are going to bring in hundreds or thousands of new shoppers for you. That's usually going to cost you money. And it's like a bet if the ROI on the program works. Nor are you going to have something where you have incredible storytelling. Not only are you rerouting millions of pounds, you're saving folks money in the process. So in that sale, that's always the thing that shows the sort of power of the platform. It wasn't really until recently, and Chuck, you've been on this journey. I think initially we were heavily positioned on, it's got to be about climate change. And we've been on the journey of learning what folks need to hear. And I would say the market in and of itself has been on a journey. What's the sort of in vogue thing that we're all thinking about right now? We've gone on the climate journey. We went on a, call it value savings, money return journey. We've learned a lot within those positionings to where as we've moved into this new world, the value of this platform sits within the traffic that it actually brings into the store and the competitive advantage that gives you within regions that you enter in comparison to some of your other retailers. You're always looking for that edge. And that edge in and of itself has become such a powerful selling point. And the cool thing is all the other things that we used to position on the totem pole of where we have gone are still relevant. But like the truth of it is like the real value sits within that shopper base that is highly engaged. On our app alone, our average user is opening the app 3.5 times a week. And I think that's a really interesting thing that we almost not forgot, but we didn't bring forward as like the power of this tool is like that connection point to the community that's out there.
And when you say bring in customers more, it's not just to buy what's on the Flashfood or pick up what's on the Flashfood app, but it's also to do other shopping.
Correct. So an average Flashfood shopper is coming in, call it 1.1 more times a month. On average, they're spending $20 to $25. You multiply that out within the context of a year, you're adding hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per each of these shoppers that are coming into your store, to your full price items, to what your offering is. Because Flashfood exists in the realm of the ephemerality, right? It's like the game of it. You got to get it. You don't have a lot of time because the time of fresh things. So folks do have to come back in store to make that happen. But in that moment, you're going to move through the store. And I think as retailers think about merchandising, right? Like you and I hear Chuck, a lot of retailers be like, it's the beverage shelf. That's what brings people in, or it's the grab and go of the hot bar area. Flashfood is also a big part of that now. Like it's another tool because there are a few things in your store where if you put up a box of chicken wings, I got 30,000 people that just got an alert that new stuff was posted. There was nothing that ever existed like that before in your store that could really amplify that message, which is really cool.
Yeah, it does provide real time, here's what's happening in my store, opportunities for people to be able to take advantage of, again, these discounted, fantastic products and whatnot.
The impact.
What are some of the stats on what the impact's been to date? I know the company's been around for a number of years. What's the impact so far?
So to date, we've routed 140 million pounds to the plates of families instead of landfill across North America, which everyone says that I'm supposed to have the image of what that quantifies. And one day I'll tell you how many football fields that is, but like it's an insane amount of food that's moved. And on the other side of it, we've saved folks $300 million on their groceries. And for a lot of our shoppers, it does pretty incredible things. This is another thing. Like when I was looking at actually joining the board at Flashfood, I always ask the question, can you walk me through the customer feedback? Show me the volume of like complaint. And I also want to know the volume of like proactive outreach that you get from your community, because that's always an indicator of what's really going on here. And actually this business exists in this very obscure realm where you're getting hundreds, if not thousands of comments weekly of people just being like, thank you for existing. And because of your existence, I like fixed my car, or I was able to maximize my kids' school supplies for the year. Like you're getting these stories that you don't like, I'm not like texting Uber and being like, thank you so much for existing. Changed my life. And this business exists in a realm where that is like the fact of it. And that was something that we often didn't bring forward. A lot of the messaging we used to have was like, good job, you saved this much in CO2. I don't know how much CO2 and the weight of it motivates you to do anything, but it doesn't motivate me. I still care more about if I saved $1,000 this year on my groceries and what I was able to do with that. Could I take a trip with my family? And we found that was what they cared about. Like, yeah, the food's great, but like the outcome of this is so much more powerful. And like, I know that's why this business has always been so sticky to shoppers.
Yeah, that's great. And there's a few retailers that have used SNAP. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about that program for some of these retailers.
Yeah, so SNAP and EBT is obviously a government subsidized program for low-income folks. Each state operates differently under the program. You know, it's a federal program, but it's the state's decision in terms of who, what, where. We partner with retailers who are open and willing to provide their SNAP and EBT, they call it the FNS number, to allow us to process it from a payment standpoint. And so that's what sort of dictates the handful of them that do it, because it is still relatively regulated in terms of like state to state. But of those retailers that do have the prioritization around their SNAP and EBT programs, we're working with them and are able to accept SNAP and EBT. We partner with payment platforms that are able to do that within the grocery retail industry. So it's not like tech we built ourselves. It's similar to like when you add any sort of payment tool at checkout.
Yeah, but in the States it's available. It's a great financial benefit for the network out there.
Totally. And it's actually what it gave us too is our relationship with a number of other like entities that provide food to the communities, whether that's the bank community or you've got sort of like discount markets. Like we actually partner with them. Every box that goes out to the community, there's like a Flashfood coupon, and it's like maximize even what you're getting from the food banks. Like the lonely sandwich is not going to find its way to a food bank box. The lonely sandwich is going to be in a Flashfood fridge. And if you want that in addition to these awesome meals that you're getting from the community, like Flashfood is here for you and obviously very close. So that's enabled us to have really awesome relationships too in the nonprofit space in terms of who's servicing low-income families.
Yeah, for sure. Talk to us about like leadership. You've spent a lot of time looking at it. I know we talk about it often. And so you're in this new role. How do you think about leadership?
I think about leadership in the context of who's around me and who's empowered to just do the good work. I grew up in the world of advertising and in marketing. I've had the fortune of having some awesome leaders. I've had also the fortune of having some pretty hardcore leaders. So I believe in my teams that they will, and I know that we will do the best work of our careers, and they are empowered and they have the autonomy to do that. A lot of times, like my team even will give feedback like, oh, wow, like you just trust me to do it. And I'm like, yes, like I need you to do it. So like, I trust you to do it. I don't need to be in it. But also at the same time, I believe in our ability to manage expectations and have clear performance. And something that I've always held on as a leader is I'm very upfront. I'm very clear. I look at the KPI, but I also have a ton of trust and I like to have a lot of fun. And all of those things can exist. It just requires like constant conversation, constant candor. And like you exist from a point of trust and, you know, you give it as far as you do. And I assume that all of that talent is there. I also just, everyone that I work with is like way better than me. That's the other piece of it. I'm not afraid to hire people that are way smarter and way more talented than I, and respect the heck out of that and just make sure in that like the communication is always very clear, the expectations are clear, the KPIs are clear, and we're all off to the races.
What's next?
So tell us a little bit about what's next for Flashfood. Where are you headed?
Yes. So like I said, some of the biggest things that we've been doing as a business in the past 6 months is it's the hard work in terms of what it means to do the transformation ahead for technology. So historically, the business had only been able to service large enterprise clients. And that was like through straight up, this is how the world works, like SFTP data ingestion, like crazy, cumbersome setups. We developed a product that actually allowed us to service not large grocers. So anyone, 1 door to 50 doors, you could come onto our platform. We built a catalog that leverages a lot of pre-existing information out in the world. So we've done a lot of transformation around our backend data and preparing ourselves for that next step as we start to move into the world of like greater recommendations, tighter merchandising. And ultimately on the partner side, like I mentioned, we have a whole new app coming out that is accelerating the speed to which any retailer can publish food on the platform. So I won't say what it is, but like it's going to be a heck of a lot faster every day when a retailer shows up on that platform in terms of like how many things that you can put on. Like I said, there's that incredible new UI and UX where you've got data coming through on the platform. There's far more opportunities coming in terms of like how products are merchandised. Produce boxes are huge on our platform. You can now also bundle things in bakery, things in prepared foods. All of these things are happening and they're happening very quick within the next few months. I would say that brings Flashfood to the bar in terms of where we should have been in terms of our tech. And what's to come is greater recommendation engines, greater data insights for our partners, faster speed to like recommended items and bundles that you can put together and sell, insights on what sells really good in your stores. We're doing a lot of that through varying integrations with AI tools. We are also doing it through a tremendous amount of maturity in our data, the UI and our tech. So through the end of this year, there are some massive transformative moments that are happening on our platform. And I would say it's the first time our business has truly built the product, like with the retailer in the gut of what we're doing. And that's just been, it's been a bit of a long time coming. We rebuilt our shopper app last year. And this is a moment where we take that tech to a whole new level, which benefits the shoppers. Shoppers will be able to search items. Like there are things that are coming that our customers have been demanding for so long. So I'm excited about the transformation from a tech standpoint because it does a few things in terms of not only are we going to scale faster in total number of doors that this business can take on at any given second. 2 weeks ago, if you wanted to join Flashfood, it would have taken you weeks to get on. Today, it takes you 5 minutes. So you can get on that platform real quick if you're a retailer. And the same way as like a shopper, a few weeks ago, you weren't able to favorite your stores. There was limited search. Like there were things that just weren't there that we knew folks wanted. And that speed of innovation is going to continue. And that's going to continue to unlock this business growing, not only in its footprint, but also in the value that the tech platform in and of itself that we've built. There's a lot. The team has been working furiously on it, but I think, again, I know that this year will be that transformative moment, and then it'll bring us into sort of the future of innovation in the space and meeting and exceeding what our retailer needs.
Yeah, we think about the evolution of a startup or an early stage company as its idea, validation, process, infrastructure, and scale. And I very much see you moving past the process into the infrastructure right now on that way to scale and being able to, I think you have a 5 to be alive or something like that as the internal process you're working on.
Live in 5.
Live in 5. There you go. Yeah. Gotta get
live in 5. If one of our sales reps talks to someone, that person should be able to have it live and posted in 5 minutes on the platform. And best case scenario is someone shopped it within the 5 minutes.
And there's a strong chance someone will buy it right then too, given all the
and so that's just it's a table stakes marker. Again, we exist in the world of ephemerality. Time is not on our side by the nature of the product we sell. We must be as fast as possible in terms of how we assure that a retailer gets more products on the platform because they don't cut time. More people are buying it because that food doesn't have time. And like we exist in the realm of speed. And so the more that we can take our technology from, to your point, like it's proved the model out and move it into this world of accelerated speed. What other services are out there? And it's a really exciting moment, especially as a new CEO in the seat, to get to inherit the opportunity of just like, it's growth time. It's not much more complicated than that. It's growth on all fronts. And we got to meet the food that wants to go to a landfill, and we got to meet the retailer who needs us to be faster.
So if I'm a retailer, how do I learn more?
Oh man, it's easy. You can LinkedIn me, or you can look at flashfood.com. And within seconds, if you did message us, hello@flashfood also works. Someone's going to write you back. So you can learn more on our website. You can download our shopper app and just shop it yourself. I know it may be a little painful to shop at one of your competitors, but do it because they're the one getting the user.
They're taking your user if you're not on the platform or you're that customer. Excellent. Thank you so much, Jordan. I really appreciate your time today. So excited to watch you continue to take this company to the next level.
Cool. Thank you for having me on my first day as CEO in this role, which is a very historical podcast for myself.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
What makes Flashfood's solution so elegant is that it's a use case where everybody wins. We look forward to seeing how the company continues to innovate and grow its impact. Thanks for tuning in to the S2G podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with us, check out s2ginvestments.com.